Going into my 30s, it seemed like I had a decade of success pretty well lined up for me. I was in the best physical condition of my life. I had just started a new relationship with a person who I cared for very much. My small business was growing and thriving, and I had 10 years to make all these things better and better. However, 2 months after my 30th birthday, I was diagnosed with stage 3C metastatic melanoma, and it completely flipped my world upside down. A serious cancer diagnosis like this quickly affected a lot of things in my personal ecosystem. For example, my life expectancy, my social life, my financial stability, my ability to work, and my physical fitness. They were all affected, and it would take me years to recover. My relationship deteriorated, my mental health went to shit, I lost interest in my business, and it probably took me a couple years to parse out the identity portion of getting cancer. By the time I was done with treatment and resolving all these things, I wanted to put it firmly behind me. And I spent a lot of the next 5 years trying to do just that. I viewed it as a learning experience, a crisis averted, but something that I didn't want to haunt me or stick with me forever. I did a lot of work to take cancer patient out of my identity. Speaking of my identity, if you don't know me, my name is Mike Linn, and I'm now a stage 4 metastatic melanoma patient who just entered remission for the second time. That would imply that the cancer came back, and it did, but once again I got lucky to beat it, and this time it changed my outlook on life for good. So even though I've entered remission again, my cancer is now considered chronic and technically incurable at stage 4. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed to come back. After all, I had a really quick and intense treatment period, and I have a good prognosis moving forward. In fact, my first set of scans post-treatment is coming up in a few weeks, so wish me luck, I guess? We'll see. What I'm sure of, though, is that this time my viewpoint on cancer and the way I approach it are completely different than the first time. And this perspective shift has helped me be successful in dealing with the diagnosis and the fallout this time around versus the first time in which I really struggled. These days, I no longer look at life as this wild, interminable ride that ends well beyond where my brain can conceptualize in terms of time. When I was in my 20s, whether it was my early 20s or my late 20s, I used to kind of look at things in terms of like 5-year chunks, and I'd think, wow, I've done so much in these 5 years, and I'd extrapolate that out to my 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and say, I have all the time in the world to do whatever I want. Turns out, maybe not. And it's not just the actual physical ramifications of getting cancer for a second time that changed my outlook on things. It's more the understanding of how life can be rerouted and how 5-year chunks can look way, way different just from 1 year to another when you project them out. And the other component of this is I've spent a lot more time kind of examining other people's lives and listening to what they have to say about the way plans change, and I've come to realize that there's some fragility all around everyone at all times. And that's certainly one of the ways that a second cancer diagnosis has changed the way I operate. I give people more time and benefit of the doubt, and I listen more these days. And it's not that I always understand. Sometimes I can't even sympathize or empathize because, life is weird and I haven't gone through the same shared experiences that everyone else has necessarily. But damn if I don't try. And these are variable skills, sympathy and empathy, but I think I just give them more attention now, and hopefully I'm becoming better and better at them as I continue to grow. And maybe this isn't just a function of a second cancer diagnosis that has alerted me to these things. It might be that I've extended the privilege of getting older, and so I'm having friends and acquaintances who have gone through more life experiences. But now I have friends in my life who have gone through divorce, who have had a spouse die, who have had children die, who have had parents die. And I certainly know a host of new cancer friends, both in real life and online, who are faced with unique and improbable challenges each and every day. And in the past, even during my first cancer diagnosis, maybe my reaction to my own situation would be to hibernate, burrow, not share any of the things I'm going through, not talk about my feelings, not have a vlog like this one. But now that I've gone through this much of life with a changed perspective, I don't think that's an option for me anymore. And I don't even mean that in the sense of strictly creating YouTube videos or whatever I'm doing here, because honestly, I don't view myself as a content creator. I'm just some dude who's in front of an iPhone trying to figure it out. But like I've said, these videos help me ideate, and if they can help me connect with cancer patients and their loved ones, then that's something I want to pursue at the moment. And I've used that expression in so many of my prior videos, connecting with cancer patients and their loved ones, but my perspective is also kind of changing on that too, because the further I go into making videos like this, or posting on forums online, or talking to cancer patients at the oncology clinic by me, I've learned that it's not so much just reaching out to that subset of people who are affected by cancer, because all of a sudden, I've accepted that my life includes being a cancer patient, it includes working in these communities, but it's not defined by it. So now I'm just connecting with people who have similar stories to me or who have family who have similar stories to me, and we're creating our own community in which we can be there for each other, whether it's related to cancer or not. And the major benefit of that development is that all of a sudden I feel like warmth and fulfillment and love from, my journey this time around, whereas last time it just felt defeating and empty and like it was just ripping my life away from me. And so now I can use this new perspective to go about life in a more positive way than I had in the past. I've come to terms with the fact that this might not be a blip in my life. This isn't a one-time thing, maybe not a two-time thing, and that, it might be ingrained into my identity for a lot longer than I would like. However, it also means that my identity isn't just victim of cancer. It can be cancer patient, cancer survivor, cancer advocate, cancer content creator. And this means I have a whole host of ways to enrich my life while going through this human experience. And just because I'm more focused around this being a positive experience and trying to use this energy for good doesn't mean that it happens all the time. I'm still prone to having intrusive thoughts, and I'm still prone to depression, and I still understand that there is a lot of wildly variable stuff that could affect my life. But I do have a little more of that urgency in me, and I do think that, I can recognize the perspective shift and use it and hopefully help other people apply the same methods to make their life a little better as they go through something like this. And I say something like this because I've learned that cancer is really just a facsimile for any bad shit that can happen in someone's life. We're all going through changes, we're all going through adaptations, and it's not always going to be fun. But if you're able to take on a new perspective and grow and learn from the experiences that you go through, it's going to make your life a lot better. And that's not to say that you can positivity or perspective shift your way out of all these situations. To be honest, you can't positivity your way out of cancer. I just happen to be super lucky in that what was expected to be a 14 to 16 month treatment at a minimum turned into 3 months. So I'm sitting here 2 months into remission saying, hey, it's really changed my outlook on things. But that's the truth. From the starting point of a stage 4 diagnosis, this quick of a remission period is incredibly fortunate. But if you asked me if I would be happy with being a stage 4 cancer patient in remission 5 years ago, I'd have looked at you like you were nuts. And speaking of nuts, maybe that's not the best segue. And speaking of looking at each other, if you're still watching this video, which means you're still looking at me, I definitely appreciate it. I'm going to take this last second to ask you to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Every time I get a new like and a new subscribe, it helps grow my channel, which in turn means I can connect with other cancer patients and their loved ones. There's that sentence I say all the time. But seriously, it means the world to me that I've been able to come this far in making videos and that I continue to do so. So that's all I've got for now, but I'm happy to continue on making these videos and changing my perspective and hopefully yours one day at a time. Thanks for watching. Bye.